Okay. This time we're talking about The Plague Dogs by Richard Adams, who also wrote Watership Down, which is another book we read a couple of years ago. This was recommended by um, someone on YouTube who saw our original Watership Down video and said we should read this book. So then Andrea and I did. And here's our review.
I have a question first.
Yeah.
So when this person on YouTube recommended this book, were they like, hey, you should read this book because it's written by the same author, or because, like, was there a because to this?
It was just like, Richard also wrote, I don't know why I'm on first name basis with him, but this guy also wrote The Plague Dogs, and I read it and it's good too, sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go see the comment if you want. Quick synopsis. There are two dogs, Rolf and Smitter, who are being kept in an animal testing facility in Northwest England. And they're basically being tortured in the beginning of this book for medical purposes. It's a government testing site. And they end up getting out, escaping the facility because the night person accidentally left one of the gates unlocked when he was feeding him. So these two dogs escape, and they start to realize very quickly that they have been one was domesticated and the other hasn't been free in a long time. So they don't know how to be animals anymore. So then they have to learn how to hunt, and they meet this friend, a fox, and they kind of have this little pack, and they go through the countryside and they start eating sheep. And then the locals get very upset and they're like, what are these two dogs doing out here? They must have escaped from the animal testing facility. And so a newspaper reporter starts following this story and kind of develops to say, oh my gosh, they might have the plague. And they might have gotten it from the testing facility, and now they're roaming the countryside and they could be spreading it to everyone. And so that's why it's called The Plague Dogs. And it's all about their journey kind of, but them running loose in the countryside and the local people kind of in an uproar.
Mm-hmm. So what are your guys' ratings? Would you recommend it?
Well, let me say something first. So there's The Plague Dogs, the book, and then there's also a movie. So this was written in 1977. The Plague Dogs came out in the movie in 1982. I have different ratings for both. So, and you go first.
Okay, I rated the book a D. It was horrible. How long have we been reading this? We've been trying to read this for 3 months. And read I read War and Peace in 2 months, and it's way, way bigger. This was just so dry to me, at least I thought. And then it's all these animals are being tortured, so that's even worse. And it's they're walking around for so many chapters, and then they don't speak English. This fox they meet, it speaks some other fox language, and you can't understand what he's saying. And then the men that live in the mountains, you can't understand what they're saying. So half the time you're trying to decipher, and then I just get annoyed. I'm like, okay, I don't care what the fox said. I skip whatever the fox says. Because I'm I can't, I'd even read it out loud and I still couldn't figure it out. Then I watched the movie and you still can't understand what the stupid thing is saying. So this is probably the worst book I've ever read. I'm not going to lie. It's been my least favorite book ever.
What would you rate the movie?
Okay, so I rate the movie a C. But I like the ending of the book better.
Yeah, I agree.
So I hated the movie ending, although it mostly followed until the ending, and then the ending was different. And I did not understand why they would make it different. Mm-hmm. The movie was easier to watch because they skip all the we're walking up a mountain for 10 pages. That part was left out, and they did that a lot. They're like, oh, we got caught doing this, so now we have to run. So then they're running, and that explains where they're going, and there's a map and all this stuff. And it's just so drawn out. Although some interesting things happen. I will say there are some things that I'm like, what? This poor dog has horrible luck, but I don't know. That might be a spoiler. So
We'll save it for the spoiler section.
yes.
Okay, my ratings. I actually would rate this a C plus. So C minus for the book, C plus for the movie. I did rate it higher. Like the book is so wordy. If this was a 300-page book instead of a 500-page book, I think I would have given it like a B plus or a lot higher. It's just he has too much description in parts, that things that just are not relevant, that don't add anything to the story, that if you took them out, you would never even know. Like I know sometimes, there's like world building and these things, but it's just one book. It's not a trilogy. It could be 250, 300 max, and it would be phenomenal. I also really, really love the points that the book makes about animal cruelty and raising awareness to that. It's really a lot. It's like really before its time in the 70s, of bringing light to these testing procedures and how people are just using products and not knowing what was going on behind the scenes. And all of the experiments that he has in here are actually ones that have been done before on animals. And so there's a lot of truth to everything that he wrote. And unlike other books, I actually took a lot away from this, and like we now in our house has started using cruelty-free shampoo, conditioner, obviously conditioner too, but then like soap and toothpaste, all those things now I check before, and I'll put the link I use in the description. So that's why I rate a little higher, because even though the story was super long and really boring at times, I had to skip over everything the Fox said.
Yes.
But like the points were there, the story was there. It was just, it needed, I think, like another editor to like up it down.
Something. Yeah.
But the movie I thought was really interesting because, no, I mean, it wasn't really interesting. It was sad. Ross,
Okay.
what the hell are we watching?
Did you Corey said the same thing. Corey walked away. He was like, I can't watch this.
Madeline started watching it while I was there, and the first scene is this dog being tortured, and I'm like, oh, I'm done. I'm out. I'll see you guys later. I'm driving back to Tucson.
I know, but like that's kind of the point of like, if you're aware of these things are happening, you'll probably think twice about it in the future if you see like a brand that has cruelty-free on it. So it's like that level of being conscious and like aware of things versus turning a blind eye, whatever. But I was gonna say something. Oh, the movie's really odd because it's a cartoon.
Yes.
And you would think it would be for children if you like saw the cover of it. I cannot imagine a child watching that movie. It's like an adult children's movie. It's very odd.
Yes. It's also very gory. Like they show like sheep dying. I was like, this isn't a kid's movie, and I guess I just assumed that since it was a cartoon, that it would be a kid's movie. But I was like, maybe it's not supposed to be. But I was like, well, that's pretty blood dripping, everything.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, who watches it?
I don't know if I'd ever see that and be like, oh, I'm gonna watch this.
Like I kind of thought maybe they used it for like high school like education, or like a class in English lit, or where you have to like analyze something or draw conclusions. I could see it being the movie being a really good option for that. But I mean, anyone under like 14 or 15 probably shouldn't watch the cartoon movie. It's crazy. Should we do spoilers?
Hold on, I have a question.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So it was, okay, what year was it written in?
1977.
Okay, so I know things have come a long way with the testing, but now I'm scared. Like, do you think they test the same way in 1917 as they do now?
I think a lot of, I don't know for sure, but I think a lot of it still happens like very
Oh, really?
methods, because I also follow this Beagle's Freedom Project. It's this Instagram account, and they go throughout like the country or the world and free beagles or other animals from testing facilities. And like they're like blind. They have videos up. Like it definitely still happens for sure.
Oh, weird. I didn't know if it was like to the same capacity. Like, but you said these were medical dogs, which is worse to me. I don't know. Like, I'm like, surely we don't test medical on animals anymore, because they don't even react the same to humans. I hope that's
I mean, they still do rat testing.
I think they still do. Yeah, I think they still do animal testing, and some cosmetics companies do animal testing, right, for their products.
I knew that. I don't like that. I guess I pay attention more to the cosmetic stuff for some reason. I don't really know why, but I don't know if maybe it's just more user friendly because it has the symbol on the back of the product versus like other stuff you have to like, I don't know. I was thinking maybe they'd stop the medical at least, because that doesn't make sense to me, because penicillin wouldn't have been found, you know.
I think the reason that it was more of like, and it didn't specifically say in there like all the time, like, ooh, these are like drugs being tested, but it was like a government contracted facility.
Oh,
So it wasn't for cosmetics in the book exactly.
right.
They did have an example in there of it was some sort of cosmetic because they had to give it to animals like so many dosage until they had 50 die. So they kept increasing the dosage every single
God.
until they reached this threshold. I think it was either 20 or 50.
How did you guys read this book?
It was horrible. It was hairspray. They killed a bunch of rabbits with hairspray.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I kind of am in like shocked that people even think to test on. I wouldn't want to test on an animal, any product.
I'll tell you one of the biggest culprits of like who are not cruelty free are Johnson and Johnson. Like a lot of the stuff on the like whenever I'm trying to find something like Johnson & Johnson is not cruelty free.
I see their name pop up for like all sorts of stuff, like not even the testing parts, but like the ingredients they use, knowing that like it has been linked. And I don't know, I've never really liked them. I've always like, for Raleigh stuff, I've always steered away from that company as a whole, because I've just heard their name in a lot of like the baby powder, all that stuff, and they have their hands in with a lot of different companies that I'm just like, I'd rather support a smaller one.
I could be wrong on this too, but like they own brands that you would recognize. So I'm pretty sure Johnson & Johnson owns Herbal Essence. And
yes, I think you're right.
I stopped buying Herbal Essence because of this. It's like I still have 2 bottles left in my spare, but after those are gone, it will be like the last ones I have, because like it is really, really crazy how many brands by larger ones actually do like animal testing. And did you already pay attention to cruelty free before reading this book?
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Kelly.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to me.
I do more like how we buy this Tide that comes in a non-plastic box. I do more of that stuff, but yeah, once you sent that link though, I like went through it and read the like brands that are free.
There's like an app I used when I was pregnant. It was called Dirty, and it like rated these products that were, even the ones that are supposedly clean, it like rated them and gave you alternatives, or like smaller companies. It didn't just go off clean for like the products and the testing, but also like how they run their company, I guess. Like Johnson & Johnson has their hands in with like so many other people that I'm like, all right, you guys are just too big and they're not transparent enough. So there was an app, I can't remember what it's called though. So I like made my decisions off like laundry detergent and stuff.
Madeline, will you send us the link?
Yeah, I will, and I'll put it in this video. I think it's super helpful. Let's do spoilers because I want to tell you the ending. I
want to
think
know what happens.
yeah. Okay, spoilers.
So, like, in the beginning, Snitter, the white dog, it's like a terrier of some kind. He runs into the street, and then his owner tries to save him and ends up getting hit by a bus. And then you think he dies. Well, I don't know. This is the book that I'm talking from. So you think he dies. Well, then, so Snitter goes to live with his sister, who's like apparently a dog hater, and she's incredibly jealous of this dog. So she sells him to the animal research facility. Well, then later, it's like the newspaper, what do they call it? Researcher, writer
Reporter?
for the newspaper. Yeah, reporter. He's like digging up dirt to try to make like a amazing story. And he finds out that the guy didn't die. He's just like has a lot of broken legs and such. And he's in a hospital. And so he goes to interview the guy and he finds out, and then he tells the guy that the dog is alive or whatever, and he got sold to a research facility. And the guy saw his dog in the newspaper, like, because they're all over the news because they thought they had the plague and they were killing sheep and all this other stuff. So he's like, well, I want my dog back. So he basically breaks out of the hospital with the newspaper reporter. And then he runs to this beach where the army, or I think it was the army, wasn't like
It was the military.
Yeah, they're trying to kill these dogs on the beach, and the dogs have just started swimming. Well, these like fishermen like see these dogs, and they're like, oh, what are these dogs doing in the water? So they scoop them out of the water or whatever, and they bring them back to shore. And then the army's like, well, we want to kill them. And the guy's like, this is my dog, and you didn't have permission, blah blah blah. So in the book, they end up going home with the original owner of the rat terrier, and then the other dog goes with, and they become best friends or whatever, what have you.
Mm.
The movie, however, everyone just freaking dies.
What?
The most dramatic change in an ending between book and movie I've ever seen. I was
And for the worst.
Yeah.
Like, the book, like, why would you make it worse? Like, the guy dies. In the book. Or in the movie.
Yeah, why would you
And
change
they
the
show
ending?
it. And then then the dog's drowned.
And in the book, the fox dies, but in the movie, he doesn't. So like, they didn't want to kill a fox.
I think he did die.
I guess it was just like, it wasn't.
Because that like commander picks him up, and he's like, caught a fox.
Yeah.
I think he was dead, but I don't know. They didn't exactly. But, like, don't look back. He'll make it.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why the movie so much worse. Like, at least the book had a good ending.
I was honestly shocked that the owner was still alive. Liz doesn't like this conversation. She just decided to dip.
Her phone died.
Okay, so it's not necessarily that they die, but it's kind of insinuated. They're like swimming off in the movie.
Into heaven.
Yeah, into like heaven.
They're dead.
Like island of dogs.
Yeah.
So they drowned to
They
death.
basically drowned, which is so ironic because Rolf is in the very opening scene of the book and the movie. He's in a cage being like tortured in this animal testing facility by drowning. They would hold him in the tank and for as long as possible. And then in the end, he has to like conquer his fear of water, which I thought was really nice in the book because it's like, oh, he swam and he like survived. It was like positive. And then the movie is just like, he died in the water again. Like, what?
The movie, I didn't like the movie because of the ending, but I thought the length was better than the book.
For sure. One thing that I thought was super odd in the book was, this is one of the most shocking parts, is so Snitter, the little terrier, is like out running, and there's another guy out who's like trying to catch him, or he's like hunting or something. And the terrier, he sees this dog and he like is calling it like, come here, come here. And the terrier runs up, and the guy puts his like shotgun beside the car, and the dog runs up, and then the gun accidentally goes off.
Yeah, the dog's claw like pulls the trigger on the shotgun.
And he dies. He gets like shot in the head. And they still showed that fully in the movie too.
Yeah. And Snitter like thinks he's like murdering people. Like he thinks he has the power of murdering people because he thinks his owner died. He shot that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Thinks he has like a power to kill people.
This is so dark.
It was like the weirdest. I was like, when is something good gonna happen?
I did like the ending of the book though, because it was like, okay, finally, like they get like he gets his master back, and the black dog Rolf has never had a master. He's always been like a street dog or like whatever. And the Snitter, the whole book was like telling him, we need to find a master. We need to find one. Like they take care of us. They throw balls. They like, you go to sit by the fireplace at night. And so it was really sweet in the book how he like, it like talks about the first time he's like pet kindly by a man, like a master. And that was really sweet. But the movie just went for a whole different turn. Very odd.
The movie was bad.
Yeah.
So dark.
So dark.
So compared to Watership Down, Madeline, which you read, a good book, or was it like this where you're like, this is horrible?
So it was a good book, but I will say it still has some of the faults of this one of being very wordy. Like good story. Like honestly, I think both of them have good storylines and are like ideas, but they are just too wordy in my opinion.
I mean, it sounds like you guys got something out of it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
We bonded over our journey to reread. Every day I was like, oh my gosh, I read 10 pages. I was so proud.
Yeah, and the chapters are like 50 pages, not even joking. So you don't feel like you get anything done.
Liz, did you kind of feel that way with Watership Down as well, or what did you think?
Yeah, I thought Watership Down was wordy, but not like as bad as it sounds like Plague Dogs is. Like, because I feel like it was like a happier story. And it was kind of like, it was always like an adventure. They were doing something. So like, yeah, it was wordy, but I didn't think it was like detrimental to the story.
That's true. I think Watership Down is more of a children's book, where it's like they're like building a raft and trying to get across the river and whatnot, where this one is like they're trying to survive and kill sheep, you know? So it's a little different. It's like Watership Down is like PG-13 and Plague Dogs is like R.
Like one's a survival adventure and one's like a living adventure.
Yeah.
Like a journey rather than like try not to die. Damn.
Honestly, I feel like you could watch this video, this one we're making right now, and have everything you need to know about the Plague Dogs. Like, I don't think you need to read the book, but if you really are interested in the story, I would watch the movie and then read the last chapter of the book.
What about the monkey?
No. That made me sad.
That was like a good ending for the monkey, though.
What happened?
He stole the monkey out of the research facility and took it home. And his wife took care of it and nursed it back to health.
How did I not know that?
Yeah, that's what happened to the monkey. He stole it, and she's like, don't you think they're going to find out? He's like, I don't care. I'm not giving it back. And then,
One of the scientists?
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't remember his name.
Dr. Boycott?
Yeah. He stole it from there.
I must have skipped that page. I was kind of skimming.
Yeah, there were parts that I was like, but yeah, the monkey, he steals it and refuses to give it back. And then it gets better and lives with them.
Well, that's good, but overall, this book club meeting didn't like brighten my day.
This is depressing.
Sorry.
Oh my God, you guys.
Next
Okay.
week, Court of Thorns and Roses.
I'll try and get it done so we can rebound from this.
So there you have it, plague dogs. Everything you need to know in this video.